5 p.m. And that means that
Okay, Tony, thank you. Very excited to get going. As you know, this time of year, I think you all are ready to see a game. You're tired of hearing me talk, and I'm tired of talking, quite honestly. I'm very excited to get going. I'm glad we have a very good opponent coming in here in Toledo. Jason Candle has been extremely consistent. He and his staff have been there together for a long time. They are definitely a worthy opponent. Last year with 2 Power 4 victories, beating a tough Mississippi State team. I know how hard it is to go into that environment and win, and they obviously played extremely well last year. And then beating Pitt in the bowl game. You could see how resilient they are. 6 overtime win against Pitt, quite impressive. And then, us playing them in 2019, I thought, that was the year early in the season in particular with Terry Wilson healthy. I thought that we had a chance to have one of our best teams that we've had in a long time, prior to getting some quarterbacks hurt that year. Still finished strong and had a bowl victory. But I think we're really hitting on all cylinders early, and this game was very difficult. We were down 14-7, ended up going in at halftime 14-14. Got a big turnover to start the third quarter and kind of pulled away, but very difficult, tough game. And we expect that again. It's a team, in the MAC that's predicted to pick number 1 or to finish first in the MAC. I believe they're receiving already 13 or 14 AP top 25 votes. So they're a team that you have to beat. They are not going to beat themselves. They're very sound. They're very well coached. And we're excited about that opportunity. For our team, we've been working hard. You've heard me talk about it. I'm proud of this team and the work that we've done to get to this point, and it's time to go tee it up. And I'm glad game week is here, and we have to go play some good football. And if we want to change the narrative, then we have to go play well. And our performance will dictate what's said about us. And it's time to tee it up and go play.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about Gleason and what problems he kind of presents from the pocket?
He's obviously a year or two of in the system or being a starter, quite impressive last year with the way he threw the ball and getting very valuable yards through running as well. They have designed quarterback runs that he gets the tough, aggravating yards and critical first downs, and then he also does a very nice job of buying time. So quite a bit of experience for him. Very good player.
You're obviously familiar with the running back too, Chip Trainum. What do you expect from him in this game?
Yeah, Chip, just who he is. A tough physical back. It's unfortunate that he really, unfortunately wasn't very healthy here, but we know what he's capable of when fully healthy, and I would expect in game 1 that he'll be ready to go. But very physical, very good back.
I think the expectation all along was that Zach would be the starter at quarterback. Last week at Louisville, you made sure to remind us all that it wasn't official yet, so what kind of made it?
Well, I think, the big thing is it wasn't what Zach wasn't doing. I think it was Cutter really playing well, in particular down the stretch of camp. I'd say the last 10 days, and he just seemed so much more comfortable, so much more confident and playing at a higher level. And I think they were both playing good, and that we need that. As you know, it's a very difficult schedule we have in front of us, and we need all hands on deck. And so I'm quite confident in both of those guys.
Mark, it looked like on the depth chart there were a lot of oars to wide receivers. Is this a case of just not, should that worry people, or should they be confident that there's a lot of guys?
Well, I wouldn't put any or on there for anybody. I didn't believe that couldn't go out and play winning football. I would just simply leave them off the depth chart, or leave them second. And sometimes it's a rotational thing. You got guys that are playing consistent, and there's no clear separation. In some positions, as you know, there's more of a rotation than others, and that's certainly one of them.
Calzada recently talked with us about embracing the role as being a game manager. That's usually pretty taboo, but how do you think he fits that, and what are your sort of expectations from him in that role?
I think he's tried talking himself into that, because I think he likes to get the ball down the field and take some shots. And I think that's just through coaching, because when things are there and checkdowns are there and, keeping the chains moving, those are things he has to do. And he's done a better job with that. So I think he's probably alluding to that.
I don't think you've had a defensive player return punts in your tenure here. What about Ty?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I think, Coach Norvell wasn't, Boulware wasn't around, Jay wasn't around when Ty was playing baseball back in the day, so he's a good baseball player, and so he gets a good beat on it, and, he's done a nice job of fielding the punts. I think, a year ago that, we lost some critical yardage from time to time, not fielding those things, and Ty's done a nice job, and, he has that baseball background, and so that helps.
Mark, when you've talked in the past about special teams, you've reminded us about kick coverage and how effective you've been. How do you feel about that?
Well, we have to go out and prove it again, and that's the thing. But overall, the special teams have been extremely solid, not only with the kickers, but with the coverage units and the protections and all that. And we have to go do another, very good job this year. I'd like to, generally when we're doing well in special teams, we don't talk about it in here, so let's hope that it's quiet here that way, right, Mark? Mm-hmm.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about what looked to me to be strength versus strength, their receiving core, which is really deep, and your defensive backs that have really come on?
Yeah, I think, I also want to compliment their secondary. I think they have a very good secondary as well. But certainly their receivers are very good. Two players that gained all MAC honors a year ago, and with their quarterback in the system. I mean, these guys have been together for a long time, so they know what they want to do. They always are very well coached. But we have to play great team defense. That's it. Yes, our defensive backs have to do their job, and they have to cover, and they have to win some one-on-ones. But we also have to have great pressure. We have to be very disciplined in our lanes, because sometimes guys want to get pressure and predictable pass, and we get out of our lanes. And you have a quarterback, as we mentioned, that has the experience to buy time. So we have to play great team defense.
Mark, we got a couple games this weekend, and then that one over in Iowa, there was a lot of fumbles, a lot of early mistakes. I know, rain played a part of it, but how much do you try to coach those game one mistakes out of the team before you get to game one?
Yeah, I think there's a fine line there. I mean, we harp on ball security all through camp, each and every day. It is critical. The staff and I already talked about it this morning in our morning staff meeting, and re-emphasizing that. But again, we want to play aggressive. We want to continue to do, build on the good things we've done through camp. So we don't want to play timid. But preaching ball security is something that we have to do all year. In general, we have to be better at turnover margin. At the end of the year, I want to see us making a gain in that area.
There's always you don't know until you know, right? There's always some uncertainties out there. So what are some of those uncertainties that are on your mind before you actually get to see how your team plays on the field?
You want me to give you a specific outline for that? Come on now, you're not going to go there. I mean, I think it's fair to say in game one, I probably sat here in some form or fashion, talked about this. Everybody's excited for game one, and we're tired of playing against each other. But game one, what I try to head off, and it's through experience. We talked about games we've had in here where we exploded in the first half and didn't finish, and guys let their emotions get out of control and things of that nature. So those are all things that I will touch on with them of handling the environment, handle the situation, and making sure we're thoroughly prepared throughout this week, but also being consistent throughout the game. There's going to be adversity in every game. How are we going to respond to that? And, and again, just try to be as consistent as we can for 4 quarters.
The big rule change this year is the injury substitution stuff. Obviously, the guy's hurt, he's hurt. But do you talk to your players at all just about how to manage that, or you just want them not to think?
You do have to discuss it, because let's be honest. I mean, it's tough sometimes, because those players got a bunch of adrenaline in their body, right? And I mean, these guys are hyped up, and they want to get up and go, but they may not be able to. I think you saw that in a game Saturday, where a player was legitimately injured, and they got charged with a timeout. I don't think that was the intent for that rule. So, I think the officials do have some discretion in there, but we do have to educate our players on it, yes.
Mark, there, in the offensive line, there were 2 true freshmen on your 2 deep. So are those guys, are they going to play, or, how deep can you go?
Well, I think you heard me talk during preseason camp when I talked about the O-line depth. I felt like we had 8 guys that were prepared. We have some swing guys in there that can go, but we also have 2 true freshmen that we believe in and need to get them some reps, and so we're not opposed to playing them.
Is this a case where you think you'll play 5 most of the game, or are you going to try to get those other 3 of the 8 in there?
I think we will definitely try to get the other 3 of the 8.
Mark, I know you're tired of talking off-season stuff, but we did find out on Friday that the league is moving to 9 conference games next year. So what were just your thoughts whenever that became official?
I felt like that I was prepared for that to come. I think that's where it was headed for a long time. And, as I think the last official quote on that I had was, I was tired of talking about it. I was like, bring it on. Whatever it is, it is. Look at our schedule this year. It's pretty hard to get more difficult than that. So, we have a top 5, top 6, most difficult schedule. And next year it'll be about the same. I don't care who's on it. It's from the league. Yeah.
They're keeping the mandate, too, to preserve the Louisville game. Are you excited to know that series isn't going away?
Yeah, I think I said that. I think I was on the record again the last time we talked about it and said that, that I was for that.
Mm-hmm. Mark, I think on October 23rd of 2023, on your radio show, somebody asked you about Tennessee and whether Kentucky would be playing them annually moving forward on either the 8 or 9 game format, and you said no. Is that still the case to your knowledge?
Well, I honestly have no idea on that. So I don't remember. I really don't recall, 2023 and what we were discussing there.
It was at the 27.28 point of the show.
No, I don't think you would come in here without. I see you reading. When you start reading like that, I'm pretty sure I believe you. So I'm not questioning you at all. I'm just saying I don't recall that in 23, but I can promise you going forward, I have no clue. I've had a lot to do, and I felt like, that's out of my hands. And let's be honest, but people ask me my opinion and everything, and I know I've been in this league for 13 years, but I could promise you the people above me don't really care what I think about that, and at the commissioner's office and the commissioner's level and presidents, they're, I think everybody has to do what's best for the league. I understand that. I believe in the leadership, of this school and in the conference, and it is what it is, so I'm not going to change that no matter what my opinion is.
Mark, do you feel like, from talking to your colleagues, do the coaches have a big enough say in this kind of thing?
No, we don't really have any say. No, none.
Mark, talking to Chris Collins last week, those 3 nickels you have listed all kind of do a little different things. How much will that be kind of situationally? And we know that's a really important position.
It is. It's a position that we are still, we're confident in those 3 guys. They bring different elements, and, we'll see how that progresses throughout the year. But I like all 3 of those players. I think they bring something.
You've talked about how you're feeling pretty good about the health. Is there any other significant things going into this game?
No, I think we're in pretty good shape. For coming out of camp and being able to take as many physical reps as we had, I think I'm pleased with where we're at. And there may be a player or 2 throughout this week that we'll see, but in general, we're in pretty good shape.
Mark, you said you were glad that you had a good team this first week, good opponent. What are the benefits of starting with a real test as opposed to maybe easing into it a little bit?
I just think it's going to be it's a long, difficult year. And, we have to approach this with 12 one-week seasons, and I know, everybody, has a job to do, and there's different narratives out there and all that. But for us, we really have to, attack it like each and every week, walking into this team meeting, with our players, that they have to be prepared no matter what happened. the week before to get ready to go play a new opponent. And, so I think it's just the challenge of the year. Our guys should have no problem getting excited for this game. It's game one. And it's a very good opponent. As I mentioned, all you got to do is look at their record. And again, if our players want to change the narrative, then we have an opportunity to do that. Here's a team that a lot of people are saying has the chance to be in the playoff of the non-Power 4 representatives and getting top 25 votes in a very good team. So we have an opportunity to go kind of showcase what we've been working on, and I think my answer to that each and every week. It's really about us and how we play, and it's about our performance. And I want to go see us play. I know the players do, but we have to take care of business each and every day as well throughout this week.
Mark, Jason James, a guy who's been there a long time. Is he someone you've ever developed much of a relationship with?
No, being an Ohio guy, no, I don't know him personally very well, but I have a lot of respect for what he's done and his staff. With him and the vast majority of his staff go all the way back to Mountain Union, and they're a bunch of winners, so they've won a lot of games, they've won championships. He's been there a long time. They have a lot of continuity on their staff, so they are obviously doing a very good job.
Continuity is not a thing really in that league. So what do you attribute to that?
I think a very good program. Just a good program, and he's carried on a great tradition, and they've been very, very good, very consistent. If I'm not mistaken, they're one of the top teams in the country with the consistency that they've had, over a long period of time.
Coach Brad White and yourself have spoke glowingly about that 2024 class. Obviously, a bunch of those guys are littered all over the two deep this year. Talk a little bit about your expectation level for those guys as they step into a bigger role, whether it be the Hardly Gilmores, the Gerard Smiths, Cam Dooleys, and so forth.
Yeah, I just think they're a good group. I love their attitude, their work ethic. They've been very good, and I'm excited to watch them play. And again, I think just game one, it's about just doing your job. That's the big thing. Our players have to be very disciplined with their eyes and things of that nature, and just making sure we stay within ourselves and taking care of the primary responsibility first. I think, you've probably heard me say this over the years, and probably walking in here Monday talking about some instances where players are trying to do too much. They have to trust their teammates and do their job first, and then be ball players and go do what they're going to do.
Mark, Tony mentioned that this is your 13th year, it's your 13th season opener, so you've seen a lot of these. How are you now compared to coming through the years? You've seen a lot of season openers.
I have, and I think, coaches say this all the time, and I certainly feel like this. You try to not make the same mistake twice, and so things that have happened in openers before, I really try to head off and make sure we're prepared. I feel like the staff, we've been very thorough going through camp, but you have to go play. And as I tell the team often, a lot of games come down to situational football, and there's no way we could replicate every situation that's going to come up with us. And, throughout the season, we try to continue to build on their football IQ, watch other people, make some mistakes and things that, we've been through, and try to head it off before it happens. But, we have to play the game and be prepared for each and every situation that comes up.
Throughout camp, where did you see the biggest step forward?
I'd say just consistency. Throughout camp, I think, towards the end, I just felt like we were playing cleaner football. I think I feel like we are a physical football team again. I hope we can go prove that. We will see. But I think we've worked hard, and improving in certain areas. But I'd say consistency is the big thing.
Mark, what are you seeing from Jagger Burton as he tries to make this transition to center for the second?
I'd say Jagger just, again, getting better with every opportunity. He's been very good, and I'm excited to watch him play. So, Jagger's a good football player, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to help this team.
Mark, Brad dropped the Josh Pascal comparison from McQueese Comfort Grace the other day. Didn't want to put that pressure on him, but as that kind of position, what have you just seen from him throughout camp?
He's a quiet guy. You know, he just kind of goes about his business, but he's a guy that definitely can create some pressure. As you know, we needed to improve in that area. He's one of the guys that we're counting on to step it up in that area. But he's an athletic guy that can gain some steps on the quarterback quickly, and hopefully he'll continue to show us that.
Very good.